Hi, my name is Shire, and today we're going to be looking at my favorite deck of all time, the Water deck. My build is always changing, so this build specifically is going to be going with my most recent deck profile, which is really cool. So if you guys want to see that, please watch it after this video for a demonstration. Yeah, so this is a deck I've been having a lot of fun with, so I'm just going to get right into it. I'm going to show you guys what this deck looks like. And beautiful, glorious max rarity as well. The most important card in your deck is going to be Deep Sea Diva. You do play this card at 3 copies and no less. We also played 3 copies of Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince. This guy is your second starter and he facilitates a lot of plays. 3 copies of Atlantean Dragoons. This card is beautiful and ultimate rare and it searches all of your sea serpents, and so all of the cards you're going to see right here is going to be part of the Atlantean package. I know Deep Sea Diva is technically part of the Deep Sea package, but these are all of your main cards, and all of these cards in any combination of 2 of them can start your combos. Diva on effect summons Neptibus. Neptibus on effect sends Dragoons, add Dragoons, and you can also search Infantry. Though Infantry acts as an extender because you can normal summon this, normal Diva. If they try and imperm this, and you know that's a huge risk because if you have any follow-up, you just summon another monster, so you make a sprite, so it's not worth it to evenly this. To imperm this. So these are your starters. Next, we have the heart and soul of the deck. Deep Sea Minstrel facilitates so much debauchery or tomfoolery or other words. I can't English today because English is not my language. 3 Deep Sea Minstrel. This card rips hand traps. This card extends. This card's put cards in the graveyard to activate Deep Sea Aria later. This card is so important for the deck. We also play 1 copy of the Deep Sea Sentry. Deep Sea Artisan is also a really good card, but it's better in synchro builds. Sentry works really well with the sprite combos, especially if you open Infantry, because then you can just extra normal this, send this to the graveyard, and you can still do your plays. To round off the Sea Serpents, we have the triple package with 1 copy of Lapis Dragon, 1 copy of Mulan Glacia, and 1 copy of Abyss Megalo. This is by far the best mermail monster you can play at the moment, and that is because he's searchable. Teus is not searchable besides for Abyss Alacia, only during your opponent's turn, but this card lets you search Mizuchi, which is good at stopping Super Poly, Dark Ruler No More, and Forbidden Droplets. And this card is really good at OTKing, so I highly recommend you play 2 of these cards in a synchro focus build. In total, this is going to put us at like, if I can count correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 11, 14, 15, 18 water monsters, sea serpents. Did I mention that they're all in beautiful high rarity? I wish this card had a super. I wish we got rarity upgrades for like Prince and Diva. You know, quarter century rare water cards would go so freaking hard. They'd go really hard. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. And for the rest of the monsters, I actually do play the Mermail engine still. I know a lot of players don't really want to play them, but this engine does a lot. Teus is really good at facilitating combos as well as putting 2 bodies on the board. It also searches Pike, and what Pike can do really well is if your opponent is playing Nibiru and you're confident about that, you can use him to discard a Prince to revive a Dragoons and then overlay both of those into Bahamut for your 4th summon, and then go into a Toad as your 5th summon. You can also search Minstrel off of the Dragoons and also off of the Prince. So that's really cool. You know, Prince is also a good normal summon with Dragoons because this card searches Minstrel. You use Minstrel, and that way you can take out an Imperm so that when you go into Bahamut Shark, you can then use your Toad to block the Nibiru. And this is really good. And she's just there for the discard potential. And then for my favorite 2008 players, we have the Dragon Ruler package. I am so happy that this guy is off the ban list. He is so much fun to do Xyz plays, link climbing, and synchro plays. So all of my 2005 players must be rejoicing with the return of the Dragon Rulers. I kind of wish these guys got rarity upgrades and rarity collection as quarter century rares. They would have gone so hard, but hey, it's understandable. I will miss you, but you will get better. For the last of the water cards, we play the 2 copies of Nimble Angler and 3 copies of Nimble Beaver. These guys got super rare rarity upgrades like Diva did. I wish she got an ultimate rare. But yeah, these cards are pretty good. I know a lot of players don't really like these. It kind of reminds them of Sekka Mermails, and Sekka Mermails had some consistency issues, but I mean, heck, these guys are combos in and of itself. This guy you can send off Tidal if you open Tidal. This guy you can send off of Minstrel, Teus, Megalo, all of those cards. And the other thing is like Foolish Burial works really well with this card. Nimble Beaver, on the other hand, allows us to play through Shifter, which I think is really freaking cool. And if you play like an actual sprite package of like 1 blue, 1 jet, 1 trap, this can do so freaking much you don't even understand. That's it for all the waters. It's quite a lot of them, but that's okay. We're playing Monster Mash. You could also choose to play Harpooner in this build because, you know, like sea summoning is very important, and having more level 4s means more Abyss Dwellers and Bahamut Sharks. I just prefer this guy in a synchro build, and I'll show you guys that in another deck profile. And I have some combos cooking up with him, so I hope you guys will subscribe if you want to see that. So moving on to the spells, this is a funny one. This is basically Bonfire for Sea Serpents, except worse. So Bonfire requires you to do nothing beforehand to use it to search for a pyro. Dark Corridor searches basically all the dark rolls and pluses and has a quarter century rare. Deep Sea Aria doesn't. This card, what it does is you need to banish a water from grave to use its effect to search for a sea serpent. So this kind of sucks, but what this does is it was planned in conjunction with Prima Donna, and Prima Donna is a really hard level to summon without the field spell, and the field spell you can't search and it doesn't do anything to search, so it's kind of just a redundant card. So this card sucks, but we play a lot of discards, so you hope to want to resolve this. I'm gonna go ahead and just put these over here on the side because that represents exactly how important they are to the deck. You can get away with not playing them. These cards, on the other hand, you need to play them. One for one foolish. These guys are your actual combo starters. These actually do things when you open them. And Abyssgale Mizuchi, this is like the one brick, but Megalo Search this is so good versus fusion decks. You do not understand. I was at locals. I went to locals for the first time in like 2 years. Like I've tried going to locals before, but I always left early because it was just a little much for me. I do struggle for like anxiety and stress and health reasons that have kind of made it really impossible to want to play. I want to play, but it makes it really hard to go to events for a long periods of time. But Mizuchi's really good because at this one locals I went to the other day, I got Super Poly twice, and so this card would have definitely helped stopping one of those. Go ahead and put those spells over here. We also play the one copy of Called by the Grave. This card is just too good not to play. For the final 6 cards in the deck, I was really torn between what cards I wanted to play. So I ended up deciding on these 6 cards, and I'll explain why. Although this is an experimental build and still needs some change to play competitively because there's conflicting combo lines, this card's really good this format because everyone and their mother are playing hand traps, and that's understandable. People will play Shifter, and Shifter hurts you, but if you open Beaver, you can play through Shifter. You just gotta use this card, look at your hand, opponent's hand, take out some cards, and then hopefully you can go into something that can stop your opponent the following turn with your sprite plays. This card's also really good going second. Like I said, I went to locals for like a full-time amount until the end of the tournament, and this card was really good at breaking boards. Multiple times I used this card to steal an opponent's Colossus so I could search my card effects. This was in a different deck though. And I also used this card to steal an Appaloosa to link climb to Zealantis. So this card's really important. It's so good. Imperm, on the other hand, I was actually deciding on whether or not I wanted to play 3 Imperm for this specific deck, or like Dark Rulers, or you know, Forbidden Droplets. This card's really freaking good. Cosmics as well, or even just Crossouts. These are proxies, so I don't have them. I'm so sorry. I need to get some. They got reprinted, so they're a lot more affordable. Yeah, one of my current philosophies with Yu-Gi-Oh! And just card games in general is to really only buy what I can afford, and currently with just medical stuff, I haven't been able to put a lot of time and resources into this game specifically as of late, but I love the card game. I love the good parts about the community, and those parts make it really fun. So I don't have better cards yet, but that's a-okay. You don't necessarily need them. You can still absolutely play without them. Like this deck goes killer going first. Going second, it has in-engine cards that can, you know, break boards. It just kind of requires more non-engine from your side deck. Pot of Prosperity is a really good card for that, so I highly recommend Pot of Prosperity. I didn't read it correctly. I thought you had to activate Prosperity at the start of your main phase 1, and you had to banish the like 6 cards or 3 cards randomly, like Extravagance, but that's not the case. For Prosperity, you literally get to choose what cards you want to banish, and like, you know how I said this deck has conflicting engines? You can just go ahead and banish the cards that don't work, so you're able to continue comboing with your main line. Like holy shit, that card's so good. Okay, this is just a quick rarity flex. High Rarity Water is the best deck of all time. Alrighty, so today we're gonna look at the extra deck. Today we have Stay Classy as our field center. It is not a Neptibus field center, it is Moki Moki. We're gonna play this card at just 1. This is our field center. 1 copy of Orochimaru. This is our token when we get nibbed. We refuse the opponent's token, we use Orochimaru. It's a water card. This card is so good. For our actual cards, we play 3 Goyo Defenders. This card is a 1-card Diva combo, and this card's really freaking cool. Final Synchro, 1 copy of Atlantean Dragite. For our Xyz monsters, we play 1 copy of Sprite, 1 copy of Toad, 1 copy of Bahamut's High, and 1 copy of Mermail Abyss Gaios Ultimate Rare. These cards are really good. Gigantic Sprite lets you kind of combo. This card's so freaking cool. Totally Awesome's there for the negates. Bahamut's there to summon the Toad. It's a match made in heaven. I'm sorry this isn't an secret rare, but hey, it is German. German Shark's high. And then one copy of Yugioh. This card's really cool to summon because it prevents level 5 or higher monsters from attacking. If you can find a way with like Mischief of the Yokai to change your opponent's Tenpais to like level 5s or higher, they can't attack anymore. So I don't even know what that deck does if they can't even attack. This card's really cool. It also blanket negates all monsters on the field. So like in the battle phase, you can just use this effect and just negate everything. It's a good card. For the Link extenders, we're gonna play one copy of Sprite Sprint. This is your main combo starter, and Ahashima, which is your second part of your combos. These cards are really important because you play a lot of level 2s, level 4s, and level 7s. We also play a copy of Coral Anemone. This card's so important. For the grind game, you definitely want to play 2 copies, but this build's really tight, so it's really hard to do that. Now for the actual boss monsters, because we do play Mermail still, we're gonna play Abyssalacia. This card's really good to sit on because if it's destroyed, you can send a water from deck to graveyard for cost, like Cherubini. Except Cherubini you can use during your turn. This card you have to wait during your opponent's turn to do anything. I don't know why they like decided to like nerf Mermail so hard. Like, the deck doesn't even have any good spell or trap cards. So we're gonna play one copy of Abyssalacia. This card can also discard infantry for cost, which can pop stuff to search Ateas for follow-up. We have one copy of IP Masquerena. This is a proxy, but hey, rarity collection dropped, so I get a nice copy for like $2. Anyone can get a copy for $2. One copy of SP Little Knight. And then finally, the last spot, I've decided to play World Sea Dragon Zelantis. This is technically an honorary water boss monster version 2. You know, this guy can clear boards, and if you anemone lock, your opponent doesn't get anything on the field. This card's so good in all water decks. I highly recommend you play it. I don't have a side deck built, so we're just gonna go over the main deck real quick. Yeah, so that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys wanna see more like water-focused content, whether it's combos, deck profiles, vlogs in the future, or openings, anything Yu-Gi-Oh really, and you guys wanna share your love for high rarity pet decks, then absolutely subscribe to my channel. Thank you. All right, hope you guys have a wonderful day. Honestly, Tidal Dragoons is still so freaking broken. I don't even understand why we couldn't get this sooner. All right, I can't wait for this card to come to 3.